Hello, and welcome to Biblical Scrolls, where we take a deeper dive into the hard to interpret, the obscure, or even the misinterpreted passages of Scripture. We will also look at apocryphal and pseudepigraphal texts and other historical manuscripts. We'll be using a variety of sources, so if you're committed to just one version of the Bible, this channel may not be for you. Now let's dig into today's passage.
Today's passage is Colossians 1:15. We're going to read it in the ESV version. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. So what does it mean that Jesus Christ is the firstborn of all creation? He is present at creation. He, along with God the Father, is the creator. I believe this refers to his rights to preeminence or dignity or first in rank. Think of the birthright in the Jewish culture. They generally get the larger part of the inheritance. Now let's flip over to Psalm 89:27. All right, so this is referring to David. It says, I will make him the firstborn, the highest of the kings of the earth. You see, David's talked about in verse 20. I found David my servant. So David was the youngest, but he was given the rights of a firstborn as he was God's chosen. But both in Hebrew and Greek, it has the idea that the firstborn doesn't necessarily just mean literally first to be born, but it also carries the meanings like these with the first in rank, the dignity, the inheritance. So the Jehovah's Witnesses take Colossians 1:15 literally. Go back to Colossians 1:15, and they say that Jesus is the first created being. But the text says firstborn of all creation. So technically, that would be Cain, the firstborn of Adam and Eve, if you take the Jehovah's Witness view literally. Slide down to verse 18. And between 15 and 18, there's a lot here that can be part of another video. But notice in verse 18 says, and he is the head of the body of the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in everything he might be preeminent. So we know that Jesus is not the firstborn of the dead either, because during his life on earth, he raised people from the dead, a famous one being his close friend Lazarus. But here's the difference. All those people died again eventually. Christ never died again, but ascended to heaven. That is why he has the preeminence and the dignity talked about at the end of the verse 18. Lastly, let's go to the first book of the Bible, Genesis 1. Genesis 1:1 and 2. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. So the word God here is Elohim in Hebrew. The word Elohim is plural, and angels weren't created until the first day. You can read about those details about the angels' creation in the book of Jubilees, chapter 2, verse 2. Or you could check out my video called In the Beginning, and I'll read all that to you. Angels can be referred to as Elohim as well, but since they were not around yet, God the Father and God the Son, or the Hebrew Yeshua and Yahweh, were the Elohim present at the creation of the world. Then you see the third person of the Trinity in verse 2, hovering or moving over the waters. So in conclusion, firstborn of creation, or firstborn of the dead, has to do with the rights associated with the title, dignity, preeminence, and inheritance.
I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something. Please subscribe and give a thumbs up. Be kind and respectful in the comments. The topics on this channel are difficult and sometimes there's a difference of opinions, but that's okay. Be blessed, be encouraged, and I'll see you in the next video.